welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to the match preview segment for Everton's next Premier League game. We're at home to Aston Villa on Thursday evening. To look ahead to that, I've got Terry alongside me as always, and we're joined tonight by Rose. It's great to have you on, Rose.
Thanks for having me.
More than welcome. Of course, you've got a fan channel of your own called Everton Rose, so anyone out there, definitely subscribe to Rose's channel as well. Some really good content on there. But we'll get straight into it anyway. Terry, we'll start with you on this one. Villa are in the bottom three, and yet we're the team coming into this looking like the worst side. Given the state of urgency Villa are in at this moment in time, like they desperately need the points, they've got to fancy themselves against this spineless bunch of idiots, haven't they, surely?
Yeah, I'd fancy a team of like the Toffee Blues lads against Everton after the Wolves game. I mean, come on. Like, the thing with Villa is they can't score, but they have got good midfielders like Grealish and McGinn would both walk into our team. They wouldn't take probably all of our midfielders, and they're what are they, second from bottom?
I think so.
Third. They get second or third, and they wouldn't take any of our midfielders. So that tells you everything you need to know. I'm hoping that our defence, which until the Wolves game had been playing okay, like in the earlier part of the lockdown, I'm hoping the defence can still, keep them out, because they aren't a very good, goal scoring team. But I fear another horror show in centre midfield, I've got to be honest.
I think that's got to be in everyone's mind now. I think that this is like the third game in a row, the Wolves game, where we've seen the midfielders just not turn up at all. And obviously, there's a bit of trepidation setting in about our prospects. Rose, what do you think going into this one?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with what Terry said. The most worrying thing I've seen in the last few games is just the lack of fight, the lack of desire. It's okay. I don't mind losing necessarily if the team gives 100% and Wolves just outclassed us. But from like minute one, it was yesterday. It feels like ages ago.
I wish it was ages ago.
Yeah, I wish it was ages ago. We just gave them so much time, and looking forward to the next few games, I just can't see that we're going to win any of them, because you've got Sheffield United fighting for Europe, Villa and Bournemouth fighting for their lives, and honestly, our players just look like they're on holiday. So
no, they are on holiday. I think that there's no maybe about it. I think they're very much disinterested by this stage. I think as soon as we got over 40 odd points, I think we were thinking, it's all right, now we can just down tools and have a bit of a chinwag, because that's the way it feels sometimes. I feel like these players don't really want to be there now. And I think you nailed it there, Rose. I think all three of the sides were coming up against everybody's got something to play for, and we certainly have nothing to play for. You'd say pride, but these players clearly haven't got any pride from what you've seen in these last couple of games. I think the one thing, Terry, you mentioned, them midfielders, the Villa midfield, there's a player that definitely have at Everton, John McGinn. He's got everything, I think, that we're missing right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's one to realistically look at, I think, for a lot of clubs if Villa do go down, because there's going to be quite a few clubs who would take Grealish, but he's not going to go cheap, so it's not a non-starter for him. But McGinn, all right, he's not young, but he's not exactly old either. So yeah, I mean, with regards to Everton, it might just come down to formation. He might not be comfortable in a 4-4-2. I mean, I don't know. Don't think Villa play that, but
I think they play like a 4-4-1-1, which is not far off. To be fair, what Grealish does is similar to Richarlison. It could work.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the issue we've got is, who do we play? Like, what teams we put out? Like, a lot of people want him to just change the whole team, and even if he does do that, he can't really change the centre midfielders. He hasn't got anyone there. Like, all he'll do is just shuffle Gomez back in for likely to be Sigurdsson. And there's Beningame, and he's just not going to play him, is he?
Does he exist? What's a Beningame?
I know, but he could change everything. He could bring Moise Keane in. He could even bring in like Branthwaite, people like that. There's not much he can do in centre midfield other than what he's already done. So the problem will not go away with selection. Now it's just a case of, is he going to go for it in these last three games to try and get us as high up the league as possible and finish on as strong as point, or will he just go, you know what, sod it, play boys, yeah, and then see it, and play these players that I wasn't sure about starting when there was really games on the line. Like you'll see what he subscribes to as a manager now going into these games.
There's definitely nothing on the line now. Europe's well and truly dead and buried, whatever way you look at it. I think it's got to be a chance to experiment now. I think if he sticks with the same team, I think most fans will probably tear it off before it's even started. I know for a fact I probably won't bother to watch if he, picks that same sort of setup.
Yeah.
And it's horrible because I feel like I'm ripping into Ancelotti, and it's not his fault as such as it is. He's got to do the best he can with a very, very limited squad. It's just it's so difficult to watch one of the world's best managers sitting in the Everton dugout wondering what he's done to deserve that scenario. And
the manager who managed Pirlo and players like that, watching Sigurdsson point to instead of don't give me the ball, pointing to someone else, like going,
Pirlo, imagine Pirlo pointing, imagine Gattuso and Ambrosini not putting tackles in. It's just unthinkable, isn't it? It's like what must be going through his head? I mean, I think someone put a post up before, said, what does Ancelotti do most importantly this summer? And I just went, resign. Because...
Yeah, I saw that. I thought someone's going to think he's Carlo out there, because that's what it could have been taken as. Just resign, will you? But what's going through his head?
Just the fact that there's actually a Carlo Ancelotti out thing that feels realistic just tells you that there's problems in the fan base.
Honestly, he's probably thinking, when you say what's going through his head, he's probably thinking, how much do I like my house in Crosby? Is it enough for this? To watch Tom Davies pass to the out for the throw in and Luca Dean to be chasing it.
It was unbearable.
It can go get better. Sorry,
that's just like, can't pass the ball 5 yards. Like even the most, because there's still some defending Tom Davies, and I've really wanted him to do well, but you can't defend that. Like that's just stuff that if you can't do that, then what?
Basic.
What are you doing? Like,
yeah. Are you telling me, Rose, that Bellingham can't do better than that?
Yeah, is he worse? He can't pass the ball 2 yards. Like it's just it's.
Unless he's just a random name of somebody who doesn't exist, who we just put on the team sheet because we've got nobody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could probably put Nias in centre mid and he could pass to the fullback. Like I'm telling you, I don't know. It's just it can only get better. You know what I mean? Like it won't stay as bad as this. Like he hasn't got the players to play the system. I see a few people saying change the system. Like no, don't accommodate these players.
You can't bend over backwards for these people who've seen 3 managers out the door already.
Yeah.
Imagine next season you're like, oh, we're playing 4-4-2, but a lot of the players aren't used to it at the minute. Why? Well, Tom Davies and Sigurdsson were shit, so we were playing 5 in midfield for about 8 games last season. It's like, no, just this is what and I hate to say it because everyone does it, but this is exactly what Klopp did. Just I don't care if the players are shit and can't play the system, getting the system in and then working the players around that, not working the system around the players. It'd be different if we had a load of class players. Ancelotti's changed his formation, his preferred 4-4-2 twice in his career, once for Zidane and once for Cristiano Ronaldo. He's not doing it for Sigurdsson. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so he won't change it for this. He'll just put the system in place. So Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin and Holgate and Dean, the players with a future, they're all used to it. And then the ones who haven't got a future, Sigurdsson at the very least, if you're struggling with it, don't care, get on with it.
But they don't care anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And I think the fact that they probably know now, I think that there's no future for them at the club, makes them put in even more half-hearted performances.
Yeah, like where can you notice, isn't it? You just about turn up and that's it. You ever worked your notice in a job? I'd probably do less than Sigurdsson.
That's a good point, actually. I mean,
yeah, but I wasn't getting paid that much either, to be fair.
Yeah, but it's effectively the same, to be fair. And to be fair, they weren't doing much more than that before they handed the notice in, so it is what it is. I mean, this could turn into a Gylfi Sigurdsson bashing ceremony, to be honest. And
yeah, we've veered off. I mean, we touched on the lineup. What do you think, Rose? Would you like switch it for everyone, or would you try and win the games as much as possible?
Well, no, like it's as you say, like Ancelotti hasn't had long. He's not had the time to bring his players in, and so I wouldn't change the system. Like I know there was a bit of a meltdown yesterday when the formation was released because nobody had any idea how we were playing, but they couldn't do it then either. So you can play 7 midfielders and Richarlison on his own, and they probably would still like not get the ball and not get anywhere near the box. And I think I don't like Sigurdsson, but I think it just goes a bit deeper. Like out of all of our midfielders, how many can you say like have improved since they joined? I mean, Gomez probably a little bit unfair to judge because of the injury, but like I'm not sure that any of them, maybe except Gordon, are good enough, and Gordon's just a prospect. So
no, I agree with that absolutely. I don't think any of these midfielders are, with the exception of Gordon and just Gordon. I think that's literally all we've got. That'll cut the mustard at the moment. All 5 of the defensive midfielders are substandard. I mean, Sigurdsson isn't even a defensive midfielder. Tom Davies there might still be hope for him if we have a decent player next to him, but Gylfi Sigurdsson's definitely not a good partner for Tom Davies, and I mean Andre Gomez certainly isn't either. I think it's going to be crucial. We've got to get the right midfielder in this summer without a shadow of a doubt. Otherwise, we're in serious trouble next season.
Yeah, definitely. What about Moise Keane, and not for midfield, but then again, but what would you play him? Would either of you play him? Like, would you? I don't know. Play Branthwaite, but mainly Keane. But like that's the one everyone's like, put Richarlison right and play Keane. Would you play Keane now?
Well, what were you, Rose? Would you go with that?
Yeah, I think he needs more game time. I don't think it's fair to keep judging him on 10 minutes here. Like, were we 2-0 down when he brought him on yesterday? Maybe. I think we were 2-0 down. And so it's like, well, unless he scores 2 goals and like people aren't going to rate him anyway. And I just don't think he's had enough game time. That said, though, he hasn't really shown me much, if I'm being totally honest. So I don't know. But Calvert-Lewin's definitely dropped off a bit. So why not?
We might as well, yeah. And I think it's worth noting, I think Richarlison was injured in that Newcastle game, wasn't he? And Keane played the full match near enough and played very well. So maybe we need to see a more sustained period of time of him on the pitch where maybe he can grow into a game. Because he's definitely getting the chance to grow into a game with 10-minute cameos.
Yeah, I saw a stat saying that he's only played across all his appearances. He's averaging 8 minutes of performance, like an appearance, which, he's obviously had some times where he was more than that and sometimes where he was less. But it's like, I know he hasn't looked great, but it's like, come on, what do you want him to do with that? Like, he's in.
That's quite literally feeding off scraps, isn't it? I mean, we talk about that in terms of service. I mean, the service is bad enough when he's getting on the pitch, but I mean, when you couple that with what was it, 8 minutes on average a game?
That's what I read before. The Wolves game might be slightly different now, but
I mean, 8.5.
Yeah, I mean, going into these games now, I mean, what arm would it do? If I know Richarlison's going to be the forward, but at least for 1 game, 2 games, put Richarlison right, Gordon left, front 2 of Calvert-Lewin and Keane. That's got to be worth seeing, hasn't it? Surely it might not work. Keane might get on. He's terrible for all game, but at least then you'll know, and there won't be people go and play him and what have you. And I don't know. We said going into these games, or even before the lockdown, said he'll get his chance later in the season, and we all sort of knew when the season starts wrapping up, you'll probably see him. And it's it now, we're here. It's wrapping up. So but
it has to happen now. He has to get a chance. I mean, and I know he hasn't been fantastic, but we've got to give him his opportunity now to seize it and see whether he's gonna. It might be a good indicator of whether he'll be good for us next season or not.
Yeah.
But it's a big question. I think Ancelotti seems to be very keen on keeping things the way they are. And I mean, I don't think he can really. I mean, he said he was very disappointed after the Wolves game, and somehow I don't think he'll tolerate another one of those. So you've got to hope that this is the sort of moment the penny drops, if you like, and he does start selecting better or selecting more of the gifted players at least, because you know like Tom Davis is like Bambi on skates, isn't he? He's one of those. He seems very leggy. Andre Gomez hasn't been with it. Sigurdsson's disinterested. We've got to have some more creativity on the flanks because the centre midfield isn't going to do the creating for us.
I mean, we'll see. There's nothing to play for now other than pride, so why not? Like, I wouldn't expect to see wholesale changes because I just don't think, I think he might have done that already if that was an option, but one or two. I think Moise Keane's probably the front of the queue, isn't he?
Jared Brantwaite as well, do you think? Left-sided centre-back, it looks like. I didn't actually know he was left-footed until he came on. But
yeah, maybe. I mean, he came on, didn't he? So I don't know whether that was just enforced, and it depends with the Holgate fit. I don't think he'd start if Holgate's fit.
I'd start him and put Holgate in the middle of the park.
Yeah, defensive midfielder, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think of that. I mean, that was under Ferguson, wasn't it? So I don't even think Ancelotti probably knows he can do that. But I wouldn't mind seeing it. Just I don't expect it though.
But at the end of the day, I mean, who knew defensive midfielders could tackle? Never seen it at Everton, like.
No, none of ours too.
So yeah, we'll finish up there anyway. We'll do our score predictions. Rose, score prediction for Everton versus Villa.
Well, my heart obviously always says an Everton win, but my head just says probably 2-0, what they did in the reverse fixture, because I just don't see, if we play like we did yesterday, can't see us getting anything, unfortunately.
Yeah. Terry?
Oh, yeah, the reverse fixture, the famous we could go top or go second, was it, if we win? How long ago does that feel?
Hey, be Villa and we can go top of the bottom half.
Yeah. I'm going to go with 1-1. I don't think we're very good, but they're crap as well. So I'm going to go 1-1.
I'm going to go somewhere in the middle. I think we're going to lose 1-0. I think they're not that good. I don't think they're good enough to score twice against us at this stage of the season.
Isn't that bad that that's in the middle? They're like in the bottom three, and the middle, the safe option is we'll lose 1-0. That's awful.
That's just Everton, though, isn't it? It's terrible. But it's Everton.
Yeah, that clip.
Honestly, but that's literally it. Like, I know they scored twice against Palace, but I don't think we'll concede more than one, but I'm not sure whether we'll score more than 0. So I think that's 1-0's the only feasible option for me right now. So yeah, not a very optimistic set of predictions there, is it? But this is Everton now. This is what it's like being an Everton supporter. Even going on these shows where I normally feel like I'm inclined to be optimistic, yet here I am still predicting we're going to get beat off a team in the bottom 3. This is what the season's come to. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
But if you think as well, like, which team has been beaten by all of the current bottom 3?
Oh, I know. I think we're the only ones. It really is. I mean, and I hate that meme, but
yeah,
it's time for Everton, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll honestly, like, to close, like, that's the thing that has to change. It's just the mentality from everyone. It's just,
it's just pathetic, isn't it? And if anyone can sort it, Carlo Ancelotti can sort it, but it's going to take some work, and we definitely need a new midfield. I think you need some steel from any team, regardless of mentality, and we haven't got that at all. So I think we're looking ahead to Aston Villa, but really, I think in our heads and certainly in our heart, I think we're all looking ahead to the transfer window more than anything else now, aren't we?
Yeah. Put it this way: the only positive, to finish on is Carlo's seen this side of the players now before it's too late. He's not being conned by anyone into thinking he's all right in position X or position Y. He knows that it's a mentality problem at the club that he needs to solve, not just a personnel problem. And
he's come out and said that as well, hasn't he?
There's some players who he probably thought were all right, who he probably thinks
no,
pick for the likes of that. Can't do it all at once, but at least now he knows.
Certainly, I think if there's any more positive, we'll finish on a positive. This time in 2 weeks, the season will be finished.
Yeah.
There we go. That's a nice positive way to finish off. So there you go, guys. Let us know what you think going into this game. I can't imagine it's very positive, but nonetheless, drop us a comment. give this video a like and give us a subscribe. Also give Rose a subscribe as well. We'll probably give you a little link to her channel one way or another, so definitely do that as well. And until next time, thank you guys for watching on the Toffee Blues.